Hi there. Today I'm wearing a Paul Bunyan shirt from Brainerd, Minnesota, home of Paul Bunyan land. My brothers and I worked there growing up. We lived for a few years in Brainerd, Minnesota. There's a amusement park that has a 40-foot tall animatronic statue. Hey, boys and girls, welcome to Paul Bunyan land. And it's just really cool. There's a big statue of Babe, the big blue ox, out in the parking lot. There's a photo of me as a little kid hanging from his giant nostrils and swinging back and forth. So that's part of my childhood, is Paul Bunyan and all of the mythology surrounding that American hero of the forests of the North. I'm so proud of Minnesotans because just this week, the border czar in the U.S., Tom Homan, announced that they will be ending the ICE immigration enforcement that is happening right now in the Twin Cities. And that's because Minnesota, especially Minneapolis, St. Paul area, have stood up to them and had non-violent resistance and been protesting for weeks and weeks and weeks against what ICE is doing, attacking people, murdering people in some cases, disappearing people, and detaining U.S. citizens even. It's been bad. And I really want to thank the folks who have helped out in that situation here on this channel. We had several people donate money to my friend Gene, who I went to high school with, as well as my brother, who is protecting and taking care of several Venezuelan families that are U.S. citizens, but they are afraid to go out and go to work, lest they be torn away from their families and taken elsewhere without due process. My brother even asked me, hey, could you actually take that one video down that was on your channel? It kind of shows part of a house, an exterior that could lead to people finding that building. Absolutely, I will take that down right away. Although that kind of hit me, like, oh, okay. But at the next family reunion, when aunts and uncles are saying what they think is really wrong with America and what really was overblown and exaggerated, I'm going to say, well, hey, Nathan, come here. Didn't you ask me to help you more or less hide some U.S. citizens from its own government? Oh, you did? Okay, cool. And we raised hundreds and hundreds of dollars to help you protect people? Okay, I wasn't imagining it, I don't want to talk about politics on YouTube. I want to get into, grammar and I want to make fun films with my friends. But you can't talk about politics if you're getting murdered in broad daylight in the streets of your city by masked government agents. So sometimes you have to. You have to step up and step in and say something and do something. So if you're a U.S. citizen, vote in the midterms. If there's a special election before the midterms, vote in that. There have been some huge 31-point swings in a couple of districts already in special elections that have changed the color of certain areas, and a lot of changes are coming. So make sure to be a part of that. We're all just individuals, so it might not feel like one person can do much, but if a lot of us do something, it will have a change. And if you're watching my videos and you like what I make and what I do, but you're a little annoyed that I'm bringing up politics and talking about things, you don't agree with what I'm saying, okay, we don't have to agree on everything. But I do want to kind of put my foot in the ground here and say, you don't get the luxury of assuming I agree with you and being annoyed when I don't and pretending like I still really do. I had a couple of white supremacist folks pull up to my comments section of my last video saying, why are you defending people that are actively trying to make you a minority in your own country? We white people can't afford this infighting amongst ourselves. We need to do what we must to protect ourselves. Whoa. I don't know what I've ever said or done that makes you think that that is what I would be worried about. No, I've been hired to play a neo-Nazi in a couple of movies. I was in one called Imperium with Daniel Radcliffe back in 2015, where I played a normal-looking Nazi at a convention full of people with, skinhead looks and swastika tattoos and all that, to show that there are Nazis who look everyday normal, as well as, oh, they're kind of extremist looking folks who are all, wearing Klansman hoods and stuff. They wanted to show that people come in all shapes and sizes with these ideologies. So yeah, if you Google me, you can see on IMDb a photo of me marching in front of a swastika, but that was a movie. And in movies, they hire cool looking, good acting people, not losers who actually believe that stuff. They don't get hired to play Nazis. So that was a movie. Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, who was in that movie, isn't a wizard and he's not a Nazi. So let's just be really clear there. Sometimes you have to clarify what you say or what you think so that people don't assume you side with them, when I would not do that in a million years. Are you really that afraid of becoming a minority in your own country? What does that say about how you treat minorities? I'm going to go with the flow and treat people kindly no matter what percentage of them look like me or don't in the place where I live. I suggest you consider doing the same. All right? Now let's get on to some grammar. When I got the last video ready to post, I wrote something about families affected by the current situation in Minnesota. And I then caught myself because I had used the wrong word for affected by. We actually have a couple words that you can use in Esperanto, but only in the right corresponding situation. So I thought that might be an interesting topic for a formal grammar lesson. So we're going to talk about affecting your voice, affecting your mannerisms, and being affected by something, being really touched by something or influenced by something. We're going to look at several words that you might use for those types of situations, starting with Afekti. Afekti. That's the word I typed out, just not thinking, but then I thought, wait a second, in this case it doesn't apply. When would it apply? When do we use Afekti? Well, Afekti means to use affectations, to put on airs, to feign or fake being a certain way. Like in front of a mirror, you might try out some silly, affectations there. You might talk about an actor's performance, feeling put on or insincere. In college, I did a scene for an acting class where I played a gay guy who is talking to his roommate about her new relationship, and he disapproves of it, mostly because he doesn't want to risk losing her. It doesn't really have to do with the boyfriend that she's seeing, but he's working through that and verbally processing that and being kind of passive-aggressive about it until he finally comes clean with what he's worried about. And I remember my best friend at the time, back in college, Brendan Jones, who is also a YouTuber. He runs the very successful channel Goal Guys. It's like a fitness channel mainly nowadays. He and his brother Cam Jones, they run Goal Guys. Go check them out and subscribe to them. I remember doing that scene and then Brendan telling me afterwards, oh man, I was really ready and bracing myself for you to go up there and do a very stereotypical, over-the-top homosexual character that would have been really cringeworthy and just awkward. But you didn't. You were very sincere and connected to the other actor there, and I played it, for lack of a better term, straight. I didn't go way over the top. I just played it like someone who happened to be gay but is really concerned about his relationship with his roommate. So we could say, as an example sentence, li attendis afektadon, sed mia sen affecta ludado efficis kai imponis a li. What would that mean? Well, he was awaiting or expecting affectations, or me putting on airs or putting on a certain character type and being over the top and insincere, but my not affected presentation or playing or acting of the role, efficis, was effective. It did what it needed to do, and it was impressive to him. Imponi is to impress, or to be impressive to someone. Okay, that is affecting, afektado. Now, there's a couple ways you can remember affecti and affecta, and one way to remember affecta is a thick and terrible accent. A thick and terrible accent. I am affecting the way that I am talking with a thick and terrible accent. Affecta, affect terrible accent, affect terrible accent. I am talking strangely, right? Affekta, a fake and terrible accent. It doesn't just have to do with accents. It's demeanors. It's the way you carry yourself and body, movements too. But there you go. A fake, terrible accent, affekta. All right. Another way, a zanier way to remember it, but maybe more effective for you, is picture seeing a production of Hamlet starring Mr. T from the A-Team. You know, Mr. T. I actually was friends with, or grew up with, the nephew of Mr. T, who lived in Brainerd, Minnesota, Antoine Tureau, and my dad sort of mentored him, and we helped their family out. My dad was a pastor there in Minnesota, and I spent time with him, and it just was incredible. I just stared at this guy, like, I feel like I'm watching a thing of television or something, because he was built exactly like his uncle. So yeah, I know a relative of Mr. T there, and let's say Mr. T is doing Hamlet and it's really good, but then all of a sudden maybe he wants to get a laugh or something, he's just insecure, and he just suddenly breaks character and decides to maybe ham it up and be goofy and go, "Oh man, look at Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, and I pity the fool. I pity the fool," like Clubber Lang in Rocky III, one of his famous characters. If he just started doing these weird things just because, I don't know if they're really are buying what I'm trying to do here, what would you say in that moment if you were the director or one of the other castmates? You'd go, Afekti. Why'd you start changing your voice up and doing it like that? Feck. Oh crap, T, Mr. T. Oh crap, why? So Afekti. Man, you ruined it by using affectations instead of just being sincere and trusting in the text there. So Afekti, being bummed out and disappointed with Mr. T. If that helps you remember Afekti, then great. Now, the word that I wanted to use and ended up using for that post about people affected in Minnesota was not Afekti, but afekcii. Afekcii. That means to affect or influence something, like in psychology or in medicine. It can also mean to change your physical state into one of sickness. So, la veneno tui affekcias la sangon. The poison or venom immediately affects the blood. If you get bit by a gaboon viper, there goes your ability to clot, and you're just going to bleed, and it's going to be bad. So it has an effect on that. It doesn't just influence it, it directly affects it. Another sample sentence. Vi helpis familioin affekciitain de la krizo en Minnesota. You helped families affected by the crisis in Minnesota. La malsato en tiu lando affekciis 800 infanoin. The hunger or starvation in that country, that land, affected 800 children. Okay? So to have an effect on someone. One way to remember how to spell afekcii is to think of the word kuraci. Afekti has a T in it, so think about Mr. T, I pity the fool. So Afekti, the actor one that you might use, has a T in it. But this more medicinal word, afekcii, should put you in mind of healing or a healer. Kuraci means to heal. Kuracisto is a medical doctor, a healer. So the one that ends with a CI, afekcii, is the more medically leaning term that you might have an affliction or a sickness that is an afekcio. Li kuracis mian urinan affekcion. He healed my urinary infection or affliction or sickness that I was dealing with. I don't have one, I'm just using a sample sentence here. Yes, so some similar words that you might use for being moved or touched or affected by someone or something are tuŝi. Tuŝi means to literally touch. So yes, don't touch that. Don't touch that vase. It's very expensive. You can use it that way. Tuŝi means to touch. It can also be used metaphorically to mean, wow, it really hit me. It really impacted me. It touched me. Now, tuŝi looks a lot like tusi. Tusi is to cough. How can you remember that? Which one gets the hat over the S and which one doesn't? Well, the way I remember it is the little S, the hat on the S kind of looks like a button. So you're going to reach down and tusi tuŝi, I should say. You tuŝi when you touch down on the button, whereas coughs in profile, that's more of a sideways thing. We cough at each other. No one goes and coughs straight down, right? Whereas you might push down when you tuŝi and touch something. So that's why tuŝi gets the little hat on top. Tuŝi gets that because you're touching down, whereas tuŝi does not have a sideways hat, which would be a mouth, okay? So tuŝi, touched by something, and a variation of that would be kortuŝi, to touch the heart. Now in English, we usually will say, it warmed the heart. Oh, that was such a heart-warming performance. But in Esperanto, the common phrase is heart-touching. When I filmed the play, the Esperanto play, 1910, or 1910, several people mentioned to me that, oh, that play we just saw yesterday at the Montreal Congress, tio estis tre kortuŝa. Very heart-touching. So, kortuŝa. It touches the heart. It warms the heart. And tuŝi, it touched me. Now, another word you might use is emocii. Emocii is to strongly touch the senses and the spirit, to evoke a strong emotion, to move someone emotionally. Mi efektive estis tre emociita. I really was very moved emotionally. Mi ridis, mi ploris, gi emociis min, boccio. Do you know what that's from? Little VeggieTales reference. I laughed, I cried, it moved me, Bob. Now you can say something moved you, movi, movigi, but that's not used as commonly in this family of words. Emocii. It doesn't really have a one-to-one with English verb as much as some of these other ones do, so we're less likely to use it as English speakers first and foremost, but it's a very valid and worth using kind of verb. There is emocii, to cause an emotional change or to evoke a strong emotion in someone else. Remember, it is a transitive verb, so it moved me, it emotionalized me. Gi emociis min, okay? Another word is influi, which you can probably guess means to influence. Oni credis che la astroi influas la sorton de la homoi. They, or people, believed that the astral bodies, like comets and planets and such, influenced the fate of humans. So it influenced it. It affected in that way. So yeah, those are some words about being affected and having an effect on other people. There's more words I could get into, but I want to keep the lesson relatively short today. Thank you guys so much for watching and for learning Esperanto. I hope I will be meeting many of you this year. I'm planning to be at the Universala Congresso in Graz in Austria, this year. I think I might also be checking out PER, the Printempa Esperanto Renkontigio. That's coming up here in the US in a couple of months here, I think in April. I have to go register for that. And I'll probably be at the Landa Congresso in Cleveland, Ohio, as well, here in the U.S. So I'll be at a few events. So if you are looking for a friend, if I'm learning this language, who am I actually going to use it with? Hey, you can use it with me. I'll bring my Esperanto Scrabble board game. We can sit down and play a match together. It could be a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Dankon al vi patronoi pro via helpo en la creado de tiuj ĉi filmetoj.